one director who's fast becoming one of cinema's most exciting and youngest talents, then that director is Damien Chazelle. With his breakthrough film Whiplash in 2014, he cemented his arrival as a major new talent. With no signs of resting on his laurels, he bore the hallmarks of a future all-time great of Hollywood. With his very next film, La La Land, for which at the age of 32, he went on to become the youngest ever recipient of the Academy Award for Best Director. Like all directors worthy of being considered an auteur, Chazelle is possessed of that singular vision lacking in more workmanlike directors, a vision that has guided him to some unusual places. While so many young film school graduates of his age are more likely to yearn to be the next Tarantino, Chazelle issues the hip references to new wave cinema for the grander, more romantic vision of old Hollywood. It's also worth bearing in mind that most great directors don't hit their strides until they reach their 40s. Not content with reinventing the musical genre with La La Land, Chazelle has now decided to go with something completely different for his next project. I'm Devesh, and today on my channel Cinephiles Cinema, I'm going to review this week's release, First Man. First Man sees the reteaming of director Damien Chazelle and his La La Land star Ryan Gosling to give us a visceral, first-person's account of NASA's mission to land a man on the moon, focusing on the years 1961 to 1969 and on Neil Armstrong, the astronaut who became the first man to set foot on the moon. The film explores the many sacrifices and the cost on Armstrong and on the United States of one of the most dangerous missions in history. As children, we were all told tales of Neil Armstrong and how his one small step for man went on to become a giant leap for mankind. We all know how the story ended. What First Man does is that it plays a little bit of a rewind and puts you in a mindset where it hasn't happened yet. With each step-by-step grueling process, the physical, emotional, mechanical and mental process behind every achievement, big or small, each success and each failure, all contributing towards accomplishing that final mission, Apollo 11. As an audience, you are pulled into the personal tragedies of the many lives that were sacrificed in order to achieve this colossal feat. You are left frustrated with each failed mission. You are left heaving a sigh of relief with each successful mission. And finally, you may even find yourself getting teary-eyed as you are left overwhelmed by the sheer scope, grandeur and sensation of watching the first man taking his baby steps on the moon. But the film is ultimately not about personal or collective triumphs. It's a deeply intimate story about one man, and director Damien Chazelle gets the audience to feel and experience what the real Neil Armstrong may have gone through, including both personal and professional tragedies that shape him up, causing him to smile in sadness, which he often compartmentalizes. Perhaps it's no surprise then that the real Neil Armstrong had a reputation for being cool under pressure, as well as being notoriously private and introverted. Ryan Gosling is one actor who seems to share these traits both on and off screen, choosing to play roles that often do not require his characters to talk so much. Naturally then, it is these commonalities that make Ryan so instantly likable as Neil Armstrong. There are plenty of scenes where he communicates a tremendous amount of emotion and complexity of feeling, sometimes without any dialogue at all, or with just a simple one-sentence line. He imparts a boyish innocence to his character, while at the same time makes us aware of his sadness hiding underneath an otherwise stoic personality. One of the things that I love the most about First Man is just how much it is rooted at a human level, especially at a family level, as we see Neil and his wife Janet, played by a brilliant Claire Foy, go through different kinds of emotional upheavals, including her uncertainty of ever seeing her husband again, each time he embarks on a fresh mission. If Neil is the film's emotional center, then his wife Janet provides the film's dramatic pillar. As someone who's aware of her husband's proximity to death at all times, her character has an innate strength, and Claire gives her a steely edge. First Man is also the story of how her marriage suffers blow after blow, and how she makes her marriage survive by keeping her husband grounded. I wouldn't be surprised at all if she manages to bag an Academy Award nomination next year. Acting and directing aside, the film is an achievement in almost every department. Production designer Nathan Crowley puts his experience of working on Christopher Nolan's Interstellar to excellent use here, as he opts for the same kind of practical approach that he brings to all of Nolan's movies, relying on in-camera effects, miniatures, full-scale replicas, gimbals, motion control and also sets, down to the smallest detail that feel lived in, that doesn't feel overly clean, that feels like they've got dirt, grime and a real texture to them. Music composer Justin Hurwitz, who has also worked on all of Chazelle's previous films, goes for some bold choices in crafting the soundscape of the film. Here, he incorporates the use of retro instruments such as the theremin, whose eerie, otherworldly sounds convey a sense of loneliness as well as beauty of the barren surface of the moon. His use of piano go extremely well in the more tender and poignant moments in the film, featuring Neil as a regular family guy. Could Chazelle be in line for a second Best Director's win? Will First Man pick up the award for Best Picture, an award that has so far eluded Chazelle despite his previous two films being nominated in the same category? Or could Ryan Gosling take home the statue for Best Actor? Whichever way you look at it, First Man is the kind of film that is likely to bag nominations in all the major categories, and with its remarkable cinematography and note-perfect 60s period touches, there is little doubt that it will pick up a clutch of nominations in the technical categories as well. After the historic success of La La Land, the only records for Chazelle to break are his own. I'm going with 4 out of 5 for First Man.